Ever wished you could just download the wisdom of like hundreds of books on wealth and success?
Without actually reading them all.
Yeah. Well, this deep dive is kind of like a cheat sheet for financial success.
We're going deep into 25 books, pulling out those golden nuggets that can help anyone on their wealth journey.
Whether you're starting from scratch or, already on your way to millions.
And what's fascinating is it all starts with your mindset.
Right. It's like laying the foundation.
Exactly.
Before you even start building.
Yeah.
That's where Secrets of the Millionaire Mind comes in.
Yeah.
T. Harv Eker really nails it with this idea that our beliefs about money, and they can either hold us back or like propel us forward.
Definitely.
He says we need to ditch those, those old money blueprints we've inherited.
The ones that aren't serving us anymore.
Yeah, like money is the root of all evil.
Or rich people are just lucky.
Totally. It's about recognizing those beliefs we've absorbed and actively choosing to replace them with something more empowering.
It's like rewiring your brain for financial success.
So it's not just about wanting more money. It's about changing how we think about it, how we feel about it.
The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel really dives into that. He argues that to make good financial decisions, you need to understand your own relationship with money.
Your emotions, biases.
Even personal experiences, it all plays a part.
That makes a lot of sense. But what about actually setting goals? We all have dreams, but how do we actually turn those into reality?
That's where the magic of thinking big comes into play. David Schwartz, he encourages us to cultivate a positive self-image.
To see yourself as capable.
And deserving of success.
So if I have a limited self-image, I might actually be sabotaging my own success without even realizing it.
Exactly. We often put limits on ourselves without even realizing it. But here's the thing. Big dreams are great, but The Winner Effect by Ian Robertson. It reminds us to celebrate the small victories too.
Because those milestones keep you motivated.
Exactly. Celebrating those milestones, no matter how small, it creates a positive feedback loop. Keeps you moving forward.
Those small wins fuel our belief in ourselves.
It's about recognizing and acknowledging every step in the right direction. It's those small wins that ultimately lead to the bigger achievements.
Okay, so we've got the right mindset. We're setting goals, celebrating the wins. But how do we stay committed when things get tough? When we face setbacks, challenges?
One of the most powerful analogies for commitment comes from Think and Grow Rich. Napoleon Hill tells this story of a commander. He lands in a new land and immediately burns his ships.
Wow.
No going back for his troops. It's conquer or die.
That's a pretty intense image. So it's about total commitment. But doesn't Unscripted by M.J. DeMarco say something different?
Yeah, he cautions against just blindly following a path that might not be right for you.
It's like he wants us to question the script society hands us. Go to school, get a good job, climb the corporate ladder.
He argues we have the power to choose our own path, create a life on our own terms.
So it's about being mindful of those expectations and choosing a path that actually resonates with us.
Defining success on your own terms, not based on someone else's definition.
Okay, so we're burning ships, ditching the script, choosing our own adventure. But how do we actually translate all of this into concrete actions? How do we build those good habits, the ones that lead to success?
Atomic Habits by James Clear gives a really practical framework for that, building habits that actually stick. He breaks down the science of habit formation, offers strategies for making those small changes that add up over time.
Small changes, big results. It's like building a house brick by brick, right?
Exactly. And The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. Another timeless framework for personal and professional growth. One of his key principles is begin with the end in mind.
Envision the outcome you want and work backwards.
Exactly. It's about being proactive, making sure your daily actions are moving you in the right direction.
Okay, so building good habits, starting with the end in mind. But sometimes those big long-term goals can feel really overwhelming.
Absolutely. That's where The 12-Week Year by Brian P. Moran and Michael Ennington comes in. It's about breaking down those annual goals into smaller chunks.
12-week periods. It's like sprinting instead of running a marathon.
Right. It creates a sense of urgency, makes things feel more manageable.
Makes the goals less daunting. But how do we stop ourselves from getting sidetracked along the way? There's always so many distractions.
That's where Greg McKeown's essentialism comes to the rescue. He talks about focusing on the vital few, not the trivial many.
Eliminating those distractions, cutting out commitments that don't align with your core goals.
Learning to say no to the good so you can say yes to the great.
It's about being intentional with our time and energy.
Focusing on what truly matters.
This is all great advice, especially as we think about moving to that next level of wealth building, going from like $100,000 to that $1 million mark. And speaking of which, so good they can't ignore you really challenges the whole follow your passion idea.
It does. Cal Newport suggests that passion is often a byproduct of mastery, not the other way around.
He's saying become so good at something that opportunities come looking for you.
Exactly. Focus on developing those valuable skills that make you indispensable.
So it's not about chasing some vague feeling of passion. It's about honing a specific skill set.
Right. And that connects really well with The Unfair Advantage by Asha Lee and Hassan Kuba. They focus on leveraging your strengths.
What are you naturally good at? What makes you different? Those are the things to lean into.
Absolutely. Discover your superpowers and make them work for you.
What about Mastery by Robert Greene? Feels like that touches on skill development too, right?
It does. Greene dives deep into the process of becoming a master in any field. Practice, mentorship, a deep understanding of your craft.
It's like becoming a craftsman.
Exactly. And that unique skill set makes you incredibly valuable.
But skills alone don't guarantee wealth, right? Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki really seems to hit on that.
You're right. Kiyosaki's book is a classic for a reason. He talks about the difference between assets and liabilities.
Assets put money in your pocket.
And liabilities take money out.
So it's about building those income-generating assets, not just accumulating possessions.
It's not just about earning more. It's about understanding where to put your money, making it work for you.
Speaking of making money work for you, I'm curious about The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. Is it really as magical as people say?
It really is. Hardy uses the penny doubling analogy to illustrate how small, consistent actions over time, they lead to huge results.
It's not about the big dramatic changes. It's the small daily choices that make a difference.
It's about playing the long game, being patient and consistent. But of course, the question is, where do you put your money to work? How do you actually start investing?
Right.
The Little Book of Common Sense Investing by John Bogle is a great place to start. He's all about index funds.
A simple, low-cost way to get into the stock market.
You're betting on the overall growth of the market instead of trying to pick individual stocks.
And The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham, that's like the Bible of value investing, right?
Yeah, it is. Graham teaches us to ignore the short-term ups and downs of the market. Focus on long-term value.
Being disciplined, not letting emotions drive your decisions.
Exactly. But then One Up on Wall Street by Peter Lynch offers a slightly different perspective. He says everyday investors can actually have an advantage.
Because they can invest in what they know.
The companies and products they see in their daily lives.
So paying attention to the world around us can actually give us valuable investment insights.
You don't need a fancy degree or inside information to make smart decisions. Sometimes the best opportunities are right in front of us.
Okay, so we've covered mindset, habits, and even dipped our toes into investing.
A solid foundation for building wealth.
But how do we take things to the next level? How do we go from $1 million to like multi-millionaire status?
That's where we'll pick up in part 2. We'll explore ideas like shifting income quadrants, creating new markets, even the power of tactical empathy.
Okay, I'm already hooked.
Welcome back to our deep dive into these wealth-building books.
We've already uncovered some great stuff about mindset, habits, even investing basics.
Now we're really stepping it up, moving past that initial million, aiming for multi-millionaire status.
Okay, I'm ready to level up. Where do we start this next stage of the journey?
Rich Dad, Poor Dad actually gives us a good framework for this. Robert Kiyosaki introduces the idea of the cash flow quadrant.
Oh, right, I've heard of that. It's like different ways to generate income.
Exactly. Employee, self-employed, business owner, and investor.
So it's not just how much you earn, but how you earn it.
Exactly. Kiyosaki argues that real wealth, real financial freedom, it comes from operating on the right side of that quadrant. As a business owner or investor,
creating systems that generate income, even when you're not trading your time for money directly.
Building assets that work for you, not being stuck in that, hours for dollar cycle.
That makes sense. And The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss, that seems to fit right in here.
It does. Ferriss really challenges the traditional idea of work and retirement.
He's all about lifestyle design, right?
Exactly. Creating a life you don't need a vacation from.
So it's not just about working less. It's about designing a life that actually aligns with your values.
And he gives you this framework. He calls it DEAL. Definition, elimination, automation, and liberation.
To help you, streamline your work, free up your time.
Yeah, and ultimately generate income more efficiently.
That's interesting. I can see how those principles would apply to all kinds of businesses and careers.
Right. It's about thinking outside the box, challenging those assumptions about how work should be done.
Okay, so we're shifting quadrants, designing our ideal lifestyles. But what about people who want to create something truly new? Something innovative?
That's where 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel comes in. He's all about thinking big.
Challenging conventional wisdom.
Creating things that haven't been done before.
He talks about finding those untapped opportunities, those secrets everyone else is missing.
Thiel believes the most successful businesses, they're built on unique insights and a willingness to, go against the grain.
Not follow the crowd, forge your own path.
Exactly. And that ties in nicely with Blue Ocean Strategy by W. Chan Kim and Renee Mauborgne. They advocate for creating new markets. Blue oceans.
Instead of competing in those crowded existing ones.
You're making the competition irrelevant, offering something completely unique and compelling.
That makes a lot of sense. But even in a blue ocean, you still need to persuade people, right? Customers, investors, partners.
You do. That's where understanding influence comes in. Influence. The Psychology of Persuasion by Robert Cialdini outlines 6 key principles of persuasion.
Oh, like what? Can you give us an example?
Well, one is reciprocity. People are more likely to help you if you've helped them first, giving value before asking for anything in return.
So building relationships, establishing trust, that's key for persuasion.
It is. And when it comes to negotiation, Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss is a game changer.
He's a former FBI hostage negotiator, right? So he knows a thing or two about getting what you want.
He emphasizes tactical empathy, really understanding the other person's perspective.
Even if you don't agree with them.
It's about collaboration, not confrontation. Finding common ground.
This is all really valuable stuff. But what about when it comes to focusing our efforts? Achieving that long-term success?
Good to Great by Jim Collins offers a really good framework for that. He introduces this concept called the hedgehog concept.
Finding that one thing you can be the best in the world at. The thing you're passionate about. That drive your economic engine.
He compares it to a hedgehog. Simple and focused. Versus a fox who's clever but scattered.
So it's about finding your zone of genius and owning it.
Focusing your energy where it matters most, not trying to be all things to all people.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here. Shifting into quadrants, designing our lives, creating new markets, mastering persuasion and negotiation.
And focusing our efforts for the long term.
And we're not done yet. In our final part, we'll explore some books that really challenge conventional thinking, offer some fresh perspectives on success. I can't wait. This has been an incredible journey so far. Okay, we're back. Ready for the final stretch of our wealth building book deep dive?
We've explored mindset, habits, investments, business, a whole lot.
Yeah, we've definitely leveled up our financial knowledge.
But there's always more to discover. This final part, it's all about shaking things up.
Okay, I'm ready for some unconventional wisdom. What do we got?
Let's start with The Millionaire Fastlane by M.J. DeMarco. He kind of throws a wrench in the whole traditional slow lane approach to wealth.
You mean like working hard, saving diligently, waiting for retirement? Not his thing.
Not exactly. DeMarco's all about the fast lane, creating businesses that generate passive income, speeding up the path to wealth.
Control, impact, scalability. So it's about building something that works for you, not being stuck in that job for life model.
Exactly. Thinking outside the box. But starting and running a business, that can feel overwhelming, right?
For sure. That's where the E-Myth Revisited by Michael E. Gerber comes in handy, doesn't it?
It does. Gerber talks about this trap a lot of entrepreneurs fall into. Working in their business, not on it.
Getting lost in the day-to-day grind. Losing sight of the big picture.
So it's about creating systems and processes that allow the business to run smoothly, even without the owner always being there.
Like building a machine that generates income, even when you're sleeping. I like that.
It's a powerful concept.
Now, The Lean Startup by Eric Ries, that seems to have a different take on building businesses.
It does. Ries is all about validated learning. Testing your ideas early and often, being open to changing direction based on what your customers tell you.
More agile, more responsive, fail fast, adapt quickly.
Exactly. Minimize risk, get your product or service out there ASAP, then tweak it based on feedback.
I can see the appeal in that. And it seems like The Personal MBA by Josh Kaufman kind of goes along with that. Always be learning, right?
Absolutely. Kaufman's book is a treasure trove for entrepreneurs. Marketing, sales, finance, operations, he covers it all.
Like a crash course in business.
Yeah.
But what about those times when you're feeling stuck, uninspired, lacking motivation?
That's where The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield comes in. He dives into this concept of resistance. that force inside us that stops us from going after our creative goals.
We all know that feeling. Like an invisible wall blocking you from doing what you really want.
Exactly. Pressfield says resistance is natural, but we can beat it by showing up consistently, even when it's tough.
Just keep pushing forward, even when you don't feel like it.
Exactly. And finally, we have The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. He uses Stoic philosophy to deal with challenges and setbacks.
Interesting. So what's the main takeaway there?
Holiday says obstacles aren't something to avoid, they're actually opportunities for growth.
Reframe your perspective. Challenges are like stepping stones.
That's it. Obstacles become opportunities in disguise.
Wow, we've covered so much ground. From mindset to habits, investments, business, even overcoming those inevitable bumps in the road.
It's been great exploring all of this with you, but remember, knowledge is only powerful when you actually use it.
True. Pick one idea that resonates with you and take action. Today.
Keep learning, keep growing, and keep reaching for that life of abundance and fulfillment.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into wealth-building books. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep chasing those dreams.